Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to unbox the SP140 V2 system. This is a frame system and we're going to do the electric power pack on the back today. So it's similar to last unboxing video, but this is with the new frame, so we're going to show you how to set it up. So that's what we're going to do first, and we got our 3 boxes here. So when you make an order, this is what you're going to receive. You could obviously receive extra batteries and stuff like that, but we got our frame in this big box here, and then we got our tubing and spars and other little parts in here, and then our battery box down here. And the first step is the frame, and it's the same step for whether it's gas or electric. So we'll just build out the frame, and then we'll mount the electric or gas system. In this case, we're just going to do electric. So we'll get this unboxed. So we got our charger here. We'll set this aside for now. That'll be a last step. We'll go ahead and take any padding out of here, and then go ahead and take our harness out. We'll put that on last. And then we got our frame here and our power pack down at the bottom, so just between the frame. So we can go ahead and pop this out. It just slides out. And so now we got our 2-piece frame. This is what we're gonna work on first, and then all the power pack and the harness and stuff like that can go on later. And now we can open our other box with our spars and our outside tubing and netting. Take our padding out here. See, we've got our prop in there. This is a tri-blade prop. We got our hand controller in this little box. This is the left-hand controller. We got our spar system, so just little clips and stuff like that. So 6 spars, 2 different sizes, short ones and then long ones. And then we got our outside tubes. They're just in case, and they're protective plastic for shipping, but you can see them here a little bit. So we got 7 of those. You can set those aside too. We have our netting all folded up. We got gooseneck bar parts for assembly of the gooseneck bar. We got our outside connectors, and we do have a quick release prop in there right now, but that's an optional thing. You don't have to order it. You can it comes with the bolts and the plates by default. This is just an extra add-on. Got our connectors in there, and then we got a little ESC bracket plate thing with our gooseneck bars in here. So what we'll do first is we're going to work on the frame. First thing to look at here is just our frame. So we got these little connectors just for shipping. These will stay on. This is what clamps our 2 top and bottom frame together. But these will have to unbolt, right? Just a nut and a bolt on each side, and down here same thing, a nut and a bolt clamps those together. So we'll pop these out. So we'll pop those out. You can set those aside. You can use these later for shipping and stuff like that if you're going to pack it up and ship it again. This is the last little clamp. Take that apart. Now we got our 2 halves. So we got our top of the frame, right? Sits right up here. That's where the motor mounts and stuff like that. We got our top and bottom frame, and now we can go ahead and slide them together. Spokes are on the back side of this. This is the new spoke design, a lot stronger than the previous frame, and this quality of this frame is really, really high. So we're happy about it. So go ahead and slide this in, just line them up, and go push it down. And now that those are in place, they're friction fit in place, but we're also going to use these little extra clamps here. So I'm going to get a close-up shot of that. So just these clamps, clip them into place. Same thing on the other side, clip it into place. Now we got a solid top and bottom center frame. Now that we got our center frame together, we can go ahead and pop our spar pieces out. And for the orientation of the spars, the 4 longest ones are going on the top, and then the 2 shorter ones just go right down here. So just 2 different sizes. So pop these out of their little brackets. And again, you can use this for shipping too if you want to save it. It's just a simple part. So now we can see our different sizes. We're going to go ahead and take our long pieces and go ahead and slide them up top. Just there. Slide them. They should be nice and tight. Make sure you push them all the way down. And now we take our 2 shorter pieces and we'll just put them at the bottom here. Alright, so now we got our little star kind of pattern, and now we can put the little connector pieces on the end of these. Now that we got our connectors out of the bag, there's 7 different connector pieces. Each of them is unique. They come as a set. There's numbers on the back of the connectors, so this one's a 3 for example. It's 0 through 6, so 7 total connectors. And what we're going to do is the 0 is going to go back here between the outside 2 pieces. and then 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes clockwise when you're looking from the back of the frame. What we're going to do here is take our tube and just slide it through the bottom of the legs. You can make sure this is undone here. This is the clamp down on the tube. Good, slide that through. Want to get the orientation to be right between these, obviously, because we also need to put our 0 connector in there. So what we can do is also do that here. Slide that in there. Now that 0 connector's pretty flush. So we'll go ahead and grab another tube and we'll do it from the other side, and we'll just meet that connector in the middle. Make sure this is loosened up so we can slide it through. So line it up, get that connector in there, just slide those two pieces together, and there, you can see how that it's set up now. So that connector is in the middle of our frame, and now what we can do is just clamp these down. This clamps down on the tube, and then we can work our way up. But now these pieces right here are really strong. We got a really good connection. So now we'll grab our number 1 connector, same thing with our short tube, slide this on here, nice and snug fit, and we'll go ahead and slide this in. So we got our number 1 in there. Now we're just gonna work our way around. Got number 2 here. We can go ahead and slide this on first. Just slide it on there. You can put the netting on now if you wanted to, but what I like to do is just do the whole frame assembly, make sure you know, it's nice and snug, and then we can go ahead and just pop these off at half sections and slide the net in as we go. So what we'll do is slide this nice and snug down there. Take this one, slide it into place. There we go, and just keep working our way around. So grab number 3 now, just slide that on, same way. And when we're looking from the back, this is the back of the frame, the numbers will be facing us here. And got our last one here. And it can be kind of a tight fit at first, but as soon as you do it once, it'll kind of wear right in. So now we got our whole frame assembled, obviously a big circle. Should be pretty strong. All of our stuff should line up pretty nicely. Now what we can do with the frame now assembled is we can actually just take little sections apart and slide our net in. You can do this before or after. I like to assemble the frame first, especially probably for your first time, just so you understand how everything goes together and make sure this stuff kind of wears itself in a little bit the first time. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and grab our netting. We got our compact netting here in our bag, and take it out. And what we do before we ship these out is we just kind of roll them to kind of fold them up a little bit. So what we'll do is just unroll these. There, we got all of it unrolled. And you can see these little red pieces basically dictate the start and the finish of the net. So what we can do is just kind of unfold this accordion style. If you look at these here, you can see there's a little profile on them. And this slots right in that hole of the netting. And we'll show a close-up of that too. But that is the front of our net right there. And this flat side is the back. So it's gonna go something like this up in the frame once it's slotted in. 12 different little of these sections here. So what we can do is just find, count 6 up or 7 up, and start with the middle. One of these little tube pieces out. A little bit tight at first. So now we got that slotted out, and we have our profile here on the side. So if you want to come get a shot of this, just to show how it goes together. All right, so here we can take our kind of 7th piece, because we're going to slide it in. There's 2 of these sections in each one of these here, but we'll take our 7th and just slot it in. Slide that in, take our next one, slide it in right after it. And this netting is really cool because you can replace the whole netting by yourself with no tools. These are just knotted in place, so you can actually unknot these, but it's really strong when it's pulling forward like this. So we got that section in, and now we can just put it right back on. Slide that back on, and now we got a really strong netting in there. So we'll just keep doing that for each section. So we'll take this, we'll slide it into the next section. Slide it in, it slides in there, and it'll stop right at the bottom. And then we can go ahead and put this connector back together. There, and now we got 2 sections. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that all the way around. And if there's a little bit too much tension, you can just take one knot out to slide this last one in here. And then we can go ahead and put this little knot back in the slot. This is the same way if you need to replace your netting or something like that, or swap a section out. It just slides right in, clips right in, and then we push it down. So now just do our last section, nice and tight, pop it down, and now we're good to go. Now we can take our net, tension it up here in the back. So you can tension the net in the behind the back of the frame. You can do it in the front if you want. You can even do it through these slots. I like to do it in the front. It kind of gives the most tension and it keeps the netting pre-tensioned farther up. But either works, it doesn't really matter. Take our knot here and we'll just tighten it up. That's gonna lock it right down, make this really taut. Now we got that all tightened up. We got a strong, tight netting. And now we're ready to mount whatever motor system we want on the back. We're obviously gonna do the electric here. That is our most popular, but if you're doing gas, something like that, it's the same thing. This is the step you need to get to. Right before we do the electric, we're actually just gonna show you the gooseneck bars because that is part of the frame. You know, whether it's gas or electric, the gooseneck bars are the same and the harness is the same. So we'll leave the mounting of the motor as the last piece. All right, so we got our gooseneck bar pieces, a baggie full of our parts for a gooseneck bar assembly, and obviously the gooseneck bars. So what we can do is first just unwrap these. So now we got our 2 gooseneck bars here, and what we need to do first is determine the orientation that we're gonna mount these, because we're mounting these to one side. There's a weight shift built into the bars for automatic torque compensation. And if you take a look at our pre-built unit here, you can see both of these are offset to a side. So these are, you know, both offset to the right side, and that's standard for the electric unit and the electric prop. If you're doing a gas unit, sometimes for like maybe an Av 80, it's the opposite rotation of the prop, so the torque is gonna be the other way. So you wanna flip that around to the other side. But you can always think about it just as what you need to do to weight shift to that side. So we can take both of our bars here, and we're both just gonna kind of mirror them and do exactly the same thing to each one. So what we'll do first is we'll pop out all these little parts. And there's a full list of all the parts that are in this with the gooseneck bars on your instruction sheet. But what we can do is set the carabiners aside for now, and we're just gonna set up these little soft links on the bars with our bolts going through. So we'll take these little stoppers out of the bag, stopper. We're gonna take our 4 little offset standoff pieces here, and then we're ready for our soft links here. So we can take our soft links, kind of pre-bend them a little bit if we want to. We can go ahead and take our little standoffs, slide them in to the soft links, and you can see here how they're kind of going to mount. So you're going to put these next to each other. For a standard pilot, I mean, I'm like 170 pounds. I use these 2 right here. If you're lighter weight, you can put it farther back. If you're heavier, you can put it farther forward. But you can do a hang test, obviously, to test, make sure you like the feel of it. So we take our stoppers here, kind of line that up. Take our button head bolts, these M8 bolts. Take 2 of these, slide them through. Something like look like that, and we're gonna go ahead and line that up. We can just kind of hand tighten these in a little bit, and then we're gonna grab our Allen key and tighten these down all the way. You can add some thread lock too, just for extra, you know, make sure it doesn't wiggle out. It's not totally necessary, but you got to make sure you tighten it down nice and tight. I'd say around 10 Newton meters. Nice and tight. You'll see the bolts flush with the back here. Nothing sticking out. Those are nice and snug. Not going to go anywhere. And now we're going to do the same thing for the other bar. So same exact thing on the same exact side, and the same holes and everything. All right, so we got both of those in now, and now we're ready for the next step of our bars and mounting the bars to the frame. So what we can do here is just grab our 2 washer pieces. These are plastic pieces to keep it nice and smooth between the frame. They're not structural, they're just for you know, friction's sake. And the frame's going between them. We're gonna kind of match them up like that. So they're on the inside here, and both of these are on the right side of the bar if we're looking from the back here. Then we can take that, we can take our other plastic washer piece, put that on top, pre-run our M10 bolt right through there. Really strong setup, and now that's ready to slide right into the frame and put a lock nut on the other side of it. So we'll do the same thing for this bar. With these both set up like this, we're gonna go and take it over to our frame and slide them on. Line them up. Push them through. Take our M10 lock nut. We'll put it on the other side. It's already a lock nut, but you can add extra Loctite if you want to. It's not necessary. Do the same thing for the other side, and then we'll go ahead and tighten them up. Slide that through. It's got a nice, smooth, frictionless surface. Put that on. Now we're ready to tighten them both up. Take these, and we're going to want to tighten them to the point where there's no sideways movement, but they're like, see, they're just barely falling down. That's good. That's nice and smooth right there, but there's no sideways movement. It's really tight. It's not going to go anywhere, but we don't want them stiff in place, or else you're not going to get any feel from the wing. So we want those to be able to rotate freely. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. See, it's a little bit too tight. See, it's a little bit stiff. We can just loosen it up a tad bit. It's only going to take a tiny bit to loosen them up. Like right there, it starts to fall. Now we got nice free-flowing bars. All right, so now we got both of our bars mounted on the frame. They're nice and free-flowing. What we can do now is go ahead and actually mount the power pack to the back, whether it's gas or electric. In this case, electric. So now we got our power pack box, and we can go ahead and pop this out. This is going to have all of our mounting bolts, our prop plate in it. See here, we have all of our bolts here. We got our prop plate. Go ahead and set these aside. We got our power pack in its perfect foam case. We have our standoff pieces here, so we're gonna pop this baby out. It's nice and snug in its case. See there? Got it. Just pop it out of our case. So we can take our ABS standoff pieces, put those in our pocket so we can put them on over there. And we're gonna need our these long M8 bolts, and they're all the same. There's 2 or 4 for the battery, this mounting here for the power pack, and then 2 for the battery stands. All the same size, pretty simple. So we take our power pack here, and we're looking at the back of the frame, and what we're gonna do here is our connector is gonna be on the left side if we're looking at the back of it. That's the orientation that is needed. We'll put our standoffs between these, we'll run our bolt right through. We can just slide those all in right now if we wanted to. Slide them in, bolt slides right onto the top. And we're gonna find the center hole of these ones. So there's 3 holes. We're gonna use the center one here. But yeah, we go ahead and slide all these standoffs on and just do it all at once here. All right, so we got all our bolts and our standoffs running through. Go ahead and line this up, put it right through the center. You could do it laying down if you wanted to, make your life a little bit easier. But I'm just gonna do it with my knee, hold it up, and I'm gonna go ahead and get a nut started on the other side so we don't fall off here. Get a nut started there, nut started here. And now we're good to just tighten up with a wrench and our Allen key. And we got our power pack all mounted up. So we just tightened up our 4 power pack bolts here. And now we're ready just to do the 2 standoff ones that go on the bottom. We're just gonna take our bolts, slide them right through the standoffs, line it up right here with this middle hole. Same thing for this one. Put our nut on the other side and tighten it right up. Take this, tighten it up. We got our power pack mounted, our battery standoff set. Now we're just gonna need to plug in the controller, and we got our whole electric system ready to go, aside from just sliding the battery in and flying. So we'll go ahead and do the controller now. Go ahead and unbox this, take our controller out, undo the wire. And what we're gonna wanna do here is just slide it through. Depending on what throttle hand you use, most people use left hand, as your right hand is the dominant hand. You wanna keep that free. So we'll go ahead and slide that through there. And there's the orientation of these connectors. We want the pins facing us and this yellow one on the bottom here. And this is the same as before, so if you need extra info, you can refer to other unboxing video for the SP140 V2 system. But we're gonna go ahead and plug that in now. So just make sure it's nice and snug. And there's extra optional piece, I'll show you that. So you can plug it in just like this if you want to, but there's also another piece that comes with it. And this is just like a little dust cover, and it kind of secures the connectors a little bit more. If you want to use this, that's what it's for. I'll show you how to do that. So we're just gonna plug in the controller. These 2 little things clip on the back of the nuts. So we'll slide that in, clips into place. And now we can do the same thing, same orientation for these connectors. They just slide right in. And that keeps it nice and snug. Now what we're gonna wanna do is just leave a little slack here and go ahead and zip tie this right here, run that wire down and zip tie it right there. So what this does is, in case you yank on the wire, it's not gonna pull the connection out. So same thing up here, we're gonna use this little hole front, and then we can go ahead and snip these zip ties down once we like where it is. So that's gonna keep it nice and tight, you can't move it around. And now we're ready to mount the harness to the front. So now we can take our harness, now that our controller's mounted, and we're gonna go ahead and mount these two straps at the top, and then work our way down with the straps. So again, it's the same as the older video, unboxing video. If you want to refer to that, you can. Gotta do this kind of quickly because it is getting dark out. So I slide that through, slide this one through the bottom. And I gotta slide this through again here at the top. Gonna get this nice and snug. Slides through one last time, so it's 3 times sliding through that buckle. And there, nice and tight. Same thing for the other side. So now we got our 2 straps on the top. We're just gonna do the bottom pieces. What I like to do here is slide this between these 2 bars so that it doesn't slide up and down. It's locked right between them. Same thing at the top. The buckle works exactly the same way. That nice and tight. And then we'll go ahead and do the other side. So now we got those 2 bottom straps in. We're gonna go ahead and do our last strap here. It's this longer shoulder strap. And this just keeps the shoulder strap from going too high. So we're gonna do it just below the other one here, right on the side. Strapped right here, and then same thing for the other side. So here's what it looks like. Our shoulder straps snug here, and this just keeps that thing nice and tight. All right, so now that we got the harness all mounted and strapped on, we're gonna go ahead and hook the gooseneck bars up to the harness. We're gonna take our shackles here, and we're just gonna take them and slide them through these little red pieces here. And this is where the hang point is for the harness. Slide those through, and it's gonna bolt right on to the bottom of this bar. But first, we're gonna take our little plastic insert pieces, slide them right in these little gaps here of the gooseneck bar. And then we can go ahead and take our shackle bolt and slide that right through. And go ahead and tighten it up. You can get a wrench on it and tighten it up a little bit more. You can do it by hand, but you just got to make sure you add the little key ring little thing so it keeps it from spinning over time, because you don't want this piece coming out. Our bar is hooked up to the harness. We got that shackle piece in, we got the plastic pieces in there. We'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now that we got our shackles on both sides of these bars, we're gonna go ahead and take our extra safety strap and the hook in point for our bars, and we're gonna run the carabiner through both of them. So that's, and this, obviously this piece connects to your wing, but these 2 here are just gonna run right through and sit at the bottom of this. So let me do that now. Take this and slide it through. Take this piece, slide it through here. Gonna loop it around, and now it's good to go. And it's got your safety strap through there, and your gooseneck soft link point in there. All right, so we got it done for both sides now. Our wing is ready to hook in, and gonna put our safety rings on the shackles, and got everything tightened up. We've got our power pack on the back, and now we're ready to slide our battery in and go ahead and spin the motor up and mount the prop. Once you can spin the motor up, you don't need a prop on the motor to run it up like a gas unit does just for load. This can run just fine without any prop on it. So we'll go ahead and slide the battery in the back and just start it up. So we'll go ahead and take our battery out of its protective foam case. There we go. And grab our straps and just pull it right out. There. Now we can go ahead and mount this thing right in the back. Slide in the back. You guys probably have seen this before. And it just slides right between the motor and frame there. So we can take our battery here and just plug it in. we take our switch, turn it on, and now our controller is powered up. There's a little screen protector on there, but we'll leave that on. And now we can just tap and hold to arm it. And then our motor spins up. We can throttle up. And then that little blue bar at the bottom means it's armed. And then we can tap and hold to disarm again. I just flipped the switch on the battery, but you get the idea. So that's the battery in there. We ran our motor up. At this point, we could do a hang test and make sure everything's good, make sure our harness is comfortable, adjust the straps how you like it. Last thing to do is just mount the prop. I can show you that here. All right, so we got our prop here. We got our quick prop adapter, and we'll go ahead and use that to mount. And mount our prop in. It just tightens right up. Give it a nice hand snug fit. And now we're ready to go. We have our complete SP140 electric unit power pack. So we got our prop all mounted. Now we have a complete SP140 V2 system with the V2 electric power pack. Again, very similar setup for the gas stuff, but this is the electric version. And again, if you want to break it down for shipping, it's very similar process to take it apart. Packs down really small. It can fit, in the trunk of your car or the back seat of your car, or the passenger seat of your car. It's a really small setup, and it's nice because you don't have any gas or anything like that. But that's it. If you have any questions, you can refer to the previous video, unboxing video. Very similar configuration in the back, and it is backwards compatible with the old power pack. So if you want to upgrade to the new frame, you can. It's easy to do. The frames are very affordable, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're ready to fly this baby tomorrow morning. It's got a little bit dark here, but we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.